In the World War I liberation of Le Quesnoy in France, Winiata Tapsell made history, but his deeds were not recognised and he received no glory.
He was the first New Zealander to enter the town, and then of course the rest of the New Zealand Brigade were able to enter as well and literally save the town from the Germans.
Aged 22 in February 1915, Winiata Pekamu Tapsell left for World War I aboard the Warramu. He was one of 500 men with the 1st New Zealand Māori contingent, later known as the Pioneers. Winiata enlisted with 10 members of his family.
There was his father and his brother, and his father's 5 brothers and 2 of their sons. So in total there were 10 of them.
This is the Te Aroha.
In Staplebury?
Yeah.
Down in Makatu.
Petera Tapsell is the youngest of Winiata Tapsell's 21 children. His brother Homan is the 5th youngest, and Katie Paul Tapsell is Winiata's granddaughter.
He was an extraordinary individual. He was a provider for our family, an excellent fisherman come hunter.
Did he talk about his time in the war with you?
Not directly, no.
They never talked about it.
No.
So everyone else spoke about it.
At Gallipoli, Winiata Tapsell was part of a contingent of Te Arawa and East Coast Māori who fought alongside Pākehā soldiers in a bloody and bitter battle for Chinook Bear. In a letter home to his sister Ida, written from hospital in London, Tapsell writes,
"The Turks sent a shower of bullets like rain. Well, to tell you the truth, men were mowed down like a field of oats. Still, we moved on. When the word came, we jumped straight at the Turks. That's the time I felt the real touch of the bayonet. Amidst the roar of the guns, I can hear the squeal of the men as the bayonets were driven home."
Back with his battalion in Europe, Winiata Tapsell dug communication trenches and built roads at the Somme, Messina and Passchendaele.
I get the impression that he just got tired of doing that.
Buddy Mikaire is an historian. With Katie Paul Tapsell, he's writing a book about Winiata.
He wanted a bit of action. So he managed to hook himself up with one of the rifle brigades.
It was November 2018 and Le Quesnoy had been occupied by the Germans for nearly 4 years. Rows of stone walls, some 13 metres tall, surrounded Le Quesnoy, but somehow Winiata Tapsell got in.
The story is that many of the Māori pioneers were sick and tired of eating bully beef or the tin food rations that they were given by the New Zealand Army.
It was agreed upon that my father should go in, behind the walls where it was occupied by the Germans and see what food he can gather. He took note where the Germans were located, and on his return back into the camp, he notified his superior officers. Through that, they were able to recapture Le Quesnoy.
How did he get in?
He climbed over the wall.
Climbed up on a tree, apparently. And he apparently shot one German. He got some kai and came back.
And what was the kai that he brought back?
I think it was chickens, yeah.
For liberating some French chickens and finding a way into Le Quesnoy, Winiata did not receive any accolades.
We were told at the time his cousin, Captain Te Whatiweko, was in charge there, and he said to the family and to the people that he should have been given a medal, but he wasn't given the medal because he had gone AWOL.
So what happened to him instead?
He got punished.
Tapsell received 14 days field punishment, but his unofficial reconnaissance mission helped the division to find a ledge high enough up the wall for a ladder to reach the top. Lieutenant Leslie Averill is remembered as the first soldier over the wall, but at least 3 written records say a Māori pioneer soldier beat him to it, not just the night before, but also on the day of the battle. One report is from the war diary of the 2nd Battalion, New Zealand Rifle Brigade, led by Colonel Jardine. It states,
"A dash was made to get into town by some officers and men and one pioneer. The latter actually did get into the town with the aid of some timber and shot one Hun. This party was driven off by machine gun fire."
The third report is from New Zealand's official war correspondent, Captain Malcolm Ross, who wrote,
"That such a fortress should fall to New Zealanders is an episode in history. Stranger still is the fact that the first man to enter was a Māori, one of our pioneer battalion."
In 1919, a Waikato newspaper was the first to name Winiata Tapsell as the first Kiwi into Le Quinoa on Battle Day. On November 4, 1918, the Kiwis liberated Le Quinoa. The Germans surrendered swiftly.
You know, I think he deserves the accolades for doing what he did. And, you know, it should be recognised right throughout New Zealand.
Rotorua Mayor Tanya Tapsell also wants greater recognition for the deeds of Winiata Tapsell, her great-grandfather.
It's incredibly important we get history right. This is an opportunity for us to do so now that we know, and also to celebrate with those communities, once again, that beautiful history and the stories that we share.
In 2018, Homan and Petera were invited to Le Quinoa to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the liberation, and Petera was on stage to represent the Tapsell whānau.
We take care of the soldiers as if it were house songs.
Prior to us going over there, I got a phone call from the government office there saying that we were in a bit of a dilemma here. There's Avril and there's your dad, you know, what do we do about it? I said, well, just recognise both of them.
Now these sons of Winiata Tapsell plan to return to Le Quinoa in November for the opening of the town's new museum. It will feature a Weta workshop exhibition of the liberation of Le Quinoa by the Kiwis.
We had been told, I don't know whether it's official or not, that they were going to name one of the rooms after Dad in recognition of what he had done. So that's the story so far. Whether it happens or not, we don't know.
Winiata Tapsell returned to Aotearoa in April 1919 after 4 years and 51 days abroad. He left behind his uncle, Ropiha, who died at the Somme, killed by an exploding shell. He was right beside Winiata. On his return to Makatu, Winiata became a Māori All Black. He played against the Springboks in Napier in 1921. He continued to hunt and fish, and in 1924 he married Raukakawa Frances Hunt and had 21 children. Winiata Tapsell is buried here with his tupuna and descendants, overlooking his beloved Makatu. A humble man, a truly unsung hero.